my Fina left, it's Miss Fina D coming to you all from Vienna Entertainment News. Hey, don't forget to watch Wendy Williams today. I'm on my way. Check me out on Wendy's Instagram. I'm taking over. Hey, it's your girl QueenYa Moore, and I am taking over Wendy's Instagram today. I am backstage at the Wendy show, and I'm getting ready. I've got Q on hair, silking it out, giving me a nice silk press, and I've got George Miguel on makeup, and I've got QueenYa Moore on face. This is epic. Oh, yeah, this is silly. God.
It's all hers. I've been telling y'all that for a long time. It's all hers.
So I need you guys to help me choose what I'm going to wear for Wendy today. So I have this amazing Roulin Murray top that fits like a glove. It's got that color, that signature color I'm used to wearing. And I have like really sleek pants with it. Or an Alexander McQueen power suit in ivory with this beautiful, sexy cleavage situation, sleek pants, and that's it for me. I hope you guys love the show. And remember, QueenYa Moore Hair Care, available at Sally Beauty. So there you go. I wanted you guys to see, a little bit of QueenYa behind the scenes before she went out, on the couch to Wendy Williams show. And what an amazing entrance. Okay, they were playing her song. She twirled a little bit, and it was just awesome. Now, I wrote down some notes, okay? So I'm going to discuss the entire interview from beginning to end. I did include a link in the description below. So for those of you who did not watch it yet, can go ahead and watch it. It's now on YouTube. At first, Wendy had it on her website only, but now the entire interview is on YouTube for you all to watch. So the link is in the description below. You can actually go watch the interview, put me on pause, watch the interview, and then come back. Let's talk about it. So like I said, QueenYa entrance was amazing. Wendy started an interview, very sweet. Congratulations on the baby. She looks like a doll. They had an image of Brooklyn on the screen, and then she talked about how, she likes QueenYa, and QueenYa always supported her, on the radio, and how when she met QueenYa, she just thought because QueenYa was pretty, she was going to be stuck up, but QueenYa wasn't, she was very sweet to her. And then Wendy goes and said, don't be mad at me, Nene, right? Because I guess Nene is her friend now, and because she's giving QueenYa compliments, because Nene is very territorial with her friends. You guys saw, her reaction with, Cynthia Bailey being friends with QueenYa Moore. If she feels like if I'm your friend and XYZ over here is the enemy to me, okay? You have to be on my side. I don't care if XYZ didn't do anything to you. You have to choose me. And that's, Cynthia Bailey's not rolling that way. She's best friends with QueenYa Moore. So that's why Wendy was saying, listen, don't be mad at me. But at the end of the day, Nene knows that Wendy Williams have a job to do, and it is what it is, right? And, it's business. So let's go ahead and continue. When Wendy said, Nene, don't be mad at me, QueenYa responded, no one cares about her. Wendy responded, I do. That's my friend, And then Wendy went in to talk about, being friends with Nene for a few months. She knows that Nene have experienced a tremendous amount of growth, and QueenYa gave her that shady side eye, like, okay, watch the show and let's see what growth. By the end of the day, you can't always compare the show to what happened in real life, only because on the show, they are doing their thing for a check. So sometimes they might just go overboard and be extra, because it's entertainment, all right? Now, this is why QueenYa is so effortless, okay? When if you've watched QueenYa over the years, when people throw shade or they come for her, right? She defend herself and respond and move on. You hit below the belt, she hit you back with some shade and she move on. She's not trying to, She doesn't lie on people. She's not doing things to like destroy people. It's not that deep. It's in the moment you said something about her and she addressed it and she moves on. So when Wendy Williams brought up her mother, that is a sensitive subject, and Wendy did not handle that situation with care. She was like, your mother tossed you out like you were garbage. She was insensitive. It was disgusting the way how she talked about QueenYa's mother. But if you watch the interview, you will see how graceful this woman is. She didn't break down. She didn't say, I can't talk about my mother. She did not shade Wendy back. She did not say, dang, why you say it that way? None of that. Even I was like, ouch. She politely and effortlessly responded to the question with so much grace. Even when she talked about her mom, not sending anything for Brooklyn or contacting her, she said that, her mom had her when she was like 16, 17, but now her mom is in her 60s and still, no card, no bib, no milk, no contact from her mother. She's always had a relationship with her dad, even if it was a rocky one. He's always been in her life, and how her dad does not get along with her mother and all of that. But she answered that so gracefully. And even though this was the end of the interview, since I'm talking about her mother, let me speak on this as well. Even when Wendy Williams presented QueenYa a gift at the end of the interview, she could have simply said, I got you in Brooklyn a gift, okay? And this is the picture of the gift right here. But she said, even though your mother didn't get you anything, we got you something, or I got you something. I'm like, dang, But I love how QueenYa is so strong. You can see that she's moved on in her life and she's accepted, that. And that's what normally happens when someone give up a child for adoption and they don't care. You have people who gave up children for adoption, but they still care. They were simply seeking a better life for their kids, but they still think about them and care. And some people, they don't want nothing to do with the kid, and that's why adoption was the option, right? And that's QueenYa's mother's whole situation. And so QueenYa, you can see that in as much as it's a touchy subject, she's moved on, and so I just love how just graceful she was about, and Wendy kept bringing up her mom. And you will see as I continue to read my little pointers here that even though Wendy's going through her issues, QueenYa was very graceful. She threw shade here and there, but she never threw Wendy issues back in her face, because what's the point? Okay, so let's move on to Mark. Most of you saw the Brooklyn video I did wishing her happy birthday, and you saw this picture right here and this caption, and QueenYa spending the day with Brooklyn and Mark for her birthday. And I also talked about Mark hand placement, okay? All right. And I joked in that video. For those of you who didn't get it, I was being sarcastic, and I was like, this is not where you put your hands when you don't move on and have a new woman and kids somewhere. The rumor going around. You don't put your hands, on your soon-to-be ex. Exactly. But anyway, so QueenYa talked about Mark. Wendy brought him up. And she talked about how, she's still wearing her ring, of course, and that she's very hopeful. Mark is still in love with her. She's also still in love with him. The rumors about him cheating are completely false, okay? And there's no proof of that. Basically, it's what she said. Not on Wendy Williams' show, but she's been, stating in other interviews. And that she talked about how when Wendy asked her if she spent the night, with Mark because she's in New York and he lives in New York, she said no, she spent the night at the hotel. And so Wendy was like, well, I guess then he doesn't want anything to do with you. She said, that's pretty harsh to say, because when I was at the birthday party, okay, he couldn't keep his eyes off me. We're still madly in love with each other, and at the end of the night, he kissed me. And then Wendy wants details. She's like, with a tongue? And she was like, no, I have to keep something. And I'm glad that she's drawing the line and keeping those boundaries. I am just speaking 100% from the show, right? I told you guys, when I watch these reality TV shows, I watch it through, and I gave my review 2 ways, okay? I gave my review based on what we've seen on the show and how you should react if you want to believe that everything on the show is 100%, factual, right? But I also gave my review as well based on what I think if I do believe that something is not 100% all there. So if QueenYa and Mark are truly going through all of this, right, then it makes sense. Because when you are going through a breakup with someone and the two of you are trying to figure it out because communication is the problem and you're not too sure and there's this gray area, you don't want to mess that up by doing certain things and crossing certain lines, because now the both of you are sending mixed signals. You don't know. There's not a definition there. So I think what QueenYa did was perfect by going to the hotel, telling him good night and all of that, because then that established boundaries. When you are ready for us to have communication and for us to get back together and be committed to our relationship and our marriage, then you get your wife back 100% in every way. But right now, since we're shaky, just because we're in love in this moment and it's our daughter's birthday and everything is amazing, that doesn't mean I'm going to spend the night. Also, too, if she did, she's not going to give Wendy that information and on TV, because if she and Mark are working and rebuilding behind the scenes, and, it could be a build up to the reunion. When the reunion comes around and people have things to say about her marriage, and you know how people put this whole having a man thing on a pedestal. You ain't got no man. You ain't got no husband. As if a woman's worth is measured up to the fact that she have a man in her life. And that's the reason why you have a lot of broken people. You are more than enough. You are enough. You are amazing. You are awesome. You are beautiful ladies, okay? With or without one. So don't ever measure your success, your self-esteem, or who you are as a person because a man is there. When you believe that you are everything and you are the ish, with or without one, then there you go. That's an amazing mindset. So, listen. The season is done filming, but it's possible at the reunion, when the dragon is coming and you ain't got a man and all of that, then it can all be a setup to actually, Mark is here. Let's ask Mark himself. Are they back together? Mark, come on out. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying, you never know. Mark coming out. Mark come out, talk about how amazing his wife is. They're back together. Or, hey, we're not together. Whichever way it goes, the season just started. It's the first episode. QueenYa is not going to give that information. And besides, anything could change. And lastly, it's none of Wendy's business where she spent the night. You know what I'm saying? And whether her husband was involved. So that was that. Of course, in QueenYa's statement that was released recently, with the interview that she recently had, she talked about how she suggested counseling and Mark didn't want to go. Well, in the Wendy Williams interview, she clarified that. She said, basically, when you suggest something and someone say, okay, we're going to go, but then it doesn't happen, to me, that's basically, my interpretation is, you don't want to do it. So even though Mark didn't say out of his mouth, I don't want to do counseling, the fact that she suggested it and it has yet to happen is not because of his schedule or that he's busy. He just didn't go. To her interpretation is he doesn't want to. And right there explains the communication issues that they're having, because you want to go to counseling, yes or no? No, I don't want to. You know what I'm saying? But if you have to interpret and assume, then they do have a long way to go in the communication department. One thing that I didn't bring up when talking about the naming part, so let's go back to that. I want you guys to also remember that when QueenYa was talking about her marriage being legal, Wendy Williams said that's not what Nene said, okay? So the Nene who's pretending like she's so unbothered, she's not. I do have a video coming up of her dragging the girls after the first episode. So I have that video coming up. So that means when you and your new friend Wendy Williams have your kiki, you're over there talking about Kenya Moore not being married legally. You understand what I'm saying? And so Kenya had every right to defend her marriage. I also want you guys to remember, we all saw the season where at the reunion, Nene broke down when they brought her mom. Nene herself have issues with her mother, and her grandparents had to step in, to take on the responsibility. She does not have a good relationship with her family. Do you see Wendy Williams bringing that up when Nene comes around? I know they just became friends again, but I don't see that being a hot topic. I'm constantly bringing up Kenya Moore's mother. We get it. She's told you the story over and over again. And even if you care and it bothers you that her mom doesn't care, it's just the way how she said things. It's like, anyways, let me try to move on. Let's go back to Mark, okay? Nobody wants to walk on eggshells in a relationship. Friendships, I know. To me, from what we've seen, we don't live in their household and all of that. Mark, I'm sure he's a funny guy and all of that, but he seems uptight sometimes where it might put, his wife on edge. She's like the laughing person. Look at Kenya. She laughs through her shade and through her reads. She's a joking person, laughing person, whereas to me, it looked like Mark can go from something being a joke to it turning serious within seconds, and then a joking moment turn into an awkward, serious moment, or a moment of, baby, let's talk about us, and, communicate to him saying, you know what, I just want to relax. I just want my peace right now. I don't want to talk about it. And then it leads into an argument, someone slamming the door, walking off. But whatever the case might be, okay, these two loved each other, they got married and all of that. So I'm hoping that at the end of the day, they can find a common ground and work it out. And from Kenya wearing her ring and the way how she's sounding, to be honest with you, I believe that they're already back together, making it work. However, because the announcement is out there and everything is fresh, they are not just going to jump back like, hey, we're back together. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, they still do have to film the reunion. So let's see what happens then, because that's all the way next year. Okay? So let's see what happens then. But I do believe that, the two of them can and will definitely work it out. Another theory is, we already know that Mark hits the camera. He wants no parts of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And this is simply a way to not get him to film. But filming is done. And I'm not obligated to turn up. You know what I'm saying? Your wife already have issues with half of the cast. Almost all of them. She's carrying the show. Just show up. Come to the event, show up and be the loving and supportive husband that she needs. Because be her peace. She is her own peace, but add to that peace after she don't read people all day. When she comes home, be the loving husband. And even if you're not the loving husband you claim, they make men, black men and women look bad on TV, then be the perfect example of what not to look like on TV, black man. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's continue. And then, of course, Wendy had to talk about her friend, Nene Leakes. What people have to realize is that Kenya is not going on these interviews saying, yay, let's talk about her. She's being asked questions and she's answering them. Especially when that woman went on her promotional tour for last season and dragged her name all through the mud on social media, off social media, and on screen. So Kenya Moore has every right, okay, to defend herself. I love how people are defending Kenya on social media. I picked this comment because a lot of people responded this way. This person wrote, all I see is QueenYa talking about Nene every interview and episode. That must be her storyline. Now when Nene start roasting her bleep, she's going to be crying wolf. When has QueenYa ever cried wolf or ran away from Nene's shade? She comes right back with it, okay? She's never backed down from Nene, and that's the reason why Nene don't like her. One of the many reasons why. This person responded, did you even watch the interview? Wendy kept asking her about Nene, and she responded, exactly. You guys, Wendy was like, Nene said things about QueenYa marriage. The whole mess about QueenYa having to pay men and, QueenYa's not legally married. And QueenYa was very firm ever her answer, to Wendy. I'm legally married, of course, by law. My attorneys know that. I know that. I have receipts. Needs to worry about her own marriage, which is true. You're talking about a possible open which is true. Greg cheated, right? Greg cheated. You stayed. You want us to believe that your separation was real, and you want us to believe the relationship you had with the guy, the piece of guy, okay, John, was real. And then you and your husband, reconcile and you got remarried. And then you threatened divorce again when he got sick. And then now you're having discussion of an open relationship. I don't think she's going to go through with it. So, yeah, you have a lot going on in your own marriage than to come over here and question someone's marriage. And this was the perfect moment. If QueenYa really wanted to be shady, to shade Wendy. But she didn't. Wendy asked questions. She answered them about her marriage. She talked about how, she's legally married, and she moved on. She already knows what Wendy is going through. She doesn't need to drag her and shade her. That would have been unnecessary, and I love her for that. In that conversation, Wendy continued that QueenYa is coming for Nene's spot and money and all of these different things, And so QueenYa responded that the real HBIC on the show is Candy, and that Candy makes the most money, and that if she was coming for any one bag or purse, it would be Candy's, And, she laughed about it, all right? And then she also, she also said, unless Nene has a law degree, then she can talk to me. Then she can't talk to me about the law. My attorney knows that I'm married, okay? And Wendy said, why don't you like her? And QueenYa responded, I like people who are genuine. I was a friend to her when we got over our little hump. She said how during her high risk pregnancy, she never checked on me, called me a monster, said I was having a buffalo, and tried to spit on me. Nene keeps saying she didn't spit on her. QueenYa said it twice. She never said Nene spit on her. She said it on Watch What Happens Live. Nene tried to spit on her, and she said the same thing on Wendy Williams' show. Tried to spit in her direction on her. How do you try? Wendy then made the noises. There you go. So when the show comes on and you don't see no spit, don't come back saying, I knew that QueenYa Moore was lying. She never said spit connected to her. She said an attempt was made. Okay? Also, too, and I like when QueenYa was like, that's your friend, because as she's describing all of these things that Nene Leakes, have done to her, Wendy was like, really? That happened? I must have missed that episode. And QueenYa was like, yeah, it was on TV. You missed it. That's your friend. And then QueenYa continued, I'm just a player on that show. I make my, nice little coins that I take home, and it feeds my child pretty well. So I'm not coming for anybody's money. All right. Wendy then said, you're like a real survivor, and she then talked about if Brooklyn sleeps, next to QueenYa. And then, she had to squeeze Mark back in there. Now that Mark is not there, QueenYa said how Brooklyn is too big, for that. But when Mark was there, she slept between them. And then Wendy asked her if Brooklyn was there. Now, if Brooklyn was there, they would have brought her out. But QueenYa said no, she's not. She wasn't in the studio, but yes, she was with her in New York at the hotel, and that she never travels without her daughter. which is amazing. And she also talked about how, I will be twice the mother, that my mother wasn't, to me, she will be twice the mother to Brooklyn, all right? And Wendy was talking about how she felt like, the beginning was all about, too much baby stuff, and she's ready to get to it. And Kenya responded, it was the first episodes, but this is the, best season of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And you would see, snakes, baby snakes, rats, And when he talked about how Kenya was the opening scene, and she responded, as I should be. And Wendy also asked why Nene wasn't on the first episode. And Kenya for Wendy to ask Bravo. Nene got suspended for a few episodes. Okay, she's never going to admit that. And she already knows that Bravo is not going to admit that either. And that's the reason why they did not show her choking and sending a producer to the hospital. Okay, so there you have it. But that's why she wasn't on the few episodes, and that's why Kenya told Wendy Williams to basically ask Bravo. And lastly, about the whole Kenya and Nene situation, Nene is not obligated to check on Kenya and do this and do that and all of that. That's not what Kenya meant. She was just saying, you want this person to be my friend, and you ask me why I don't like her. Well, in the moments where I could have built something with this person, a friendship or anything, and just be cool, this person treated me like, trash. So these are the examples, and yeah, we don't need to be friends, basically. And we also can't forget that on her comedy tour, she also made Kenya Moore a part of her little situation, a sketch, a routine, and dragged Kenya marriage for being fake and all of that. So yeah, we don't have to keep listing all of the things. She's done enough for the two of them to, just not be friends, and it's cool. But also, she said you don't have to dislike someone to be able to tell the truth. That's not shade. So overall, it was an amazing interview. Let's take away from this interview and everything that I've seen all over social media are people leaving comments about how intelligent and graceful and porous and articulate Kenya Moore is. And I'm like, where y'all been? Like, she's very smart. People wanted to change the narrative into, oh my gosh, she can't stop talking about this person. But I love how people are saying that, you know what, when you go to an interview and someone asks you questions, you have the right to answer. She's not the one bringing up a certain person, she's been asked. But people all over social media can't stop applauding her about how intelligent she is and how she handled Wendy Williams. And I think that's one of the reasons why Wendy, and as much as she's shady, have a soft spot for Kenya Moore, because no matter how low below the belt she goes and how shady she is, Kenya can give it to her right back with elegance and with grace, and laugh about it and hug it out in the end and keep it moving. And she doesn't take anything personal, and no matter how low Wendy goes, she keeps coming back and doing interviews. And Kenya and Wendy always have amazing interviews, and that's what I be saying. This woman knows how to do her job. She's very eloquent. She does her job and she leaves. She's not going to sit there and take anything personal, because I know, oh my God, Wendy Williams said some disgusting things to Kenya and about her mom and all of that. I would never go and sit on that couch. That's the same reason why Wendy Williams and Nene Leakes were not friends for a long time, because she took it personal. Kenya is not. She's been in this industry too long, and she knows how to play the game. And you know what? Their interviews are always amazing. So overall, great interview. Congratulations again to Kenya Moore for being back on the show. Like I said in the Real Housewives of Atlanta review that's coming up shortly, that even if you're watching a movie or action-packed movie, whatever the case might be, even if most movies don't start out with the shooting and killing people, and if it does, you will get a pause moment where it's like 6 months earlier or 2 days earlier, where they set up what happened for us to get to this point where people are shooting and killing each other. It's the same thing. You can't just start the show where there's drama, cussing, all that stuff. You need to back up. How did it happen? How did we get here? Okay, now it makes sense. Now let's go ahead and get into the drama stuff. Now, this is a difference between the first episode, setting up the stories and the storylines you're going to see, compared to an entire season being a snooze fest until someone showed up and added some, life into the show. Few takeaways from social media after QueenYa interview. QueenYa handled herself well. Wendy was being so biased, knowing Nene is wrong. And I love how she didn't play with Wendy, and when that's your friend. Nene is hateful. She doesn't want to see anyone happy or doing better than her. Not a shocker. QueenYa said that in the interview. I absolutely love QueenYa, and Nene is just jealous and threatened by QueenYa's beauty, brains, body, gorgeous hair, sex appeal, and overall accomplished. This whole thing about Candy being top paid and saying Nene was there first. If you are really being literal about the longest, like a person who's never left since Candy started, she's never left, okay? The show. Nene took a break. Nene left for an entire season. So Candy, if you're being literal, is the longest, standing housewife who's been there. The only difference is on the very first season, Candy wasn't there and Nene was. And that's the difference. So it would absolutely make sense that Candy makes the most. She's been there the longest, and she's a wife, and say what you want to say about Candy, but there's something special going on with Candy and Bravo, okay? Candy pulling weight over there. How many shows have Candy had? And she says that she never comes back for like a second season and do a spin-off because she's too busy. She's not someone who like to, her focus. The only show that she's giving that much energy to is the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But after that, she got too many businesses going on to also have another spin-off show that she has to film outside of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And then also, Candy put her foot down, and that's why you don't see a certain person back on your screen, okay? And if Candy decides to quit, then maybe you will see that person back on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, okay? Because, that's this. But anyways, overall, I am wishing QueenYa more, and also Wendy Williams, absolutely nothing but the best. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, my final loves. Thank you all for your love and support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and leave this video a thumbs up. Also turn on notifications so when I do post, you're aware that I posted. And I will see you all in the comment section. Remember to always have the God bless attitude, which is being positive at all times and seeing the good in every situation. Have a great day, guys. God bless.